So yeah, that's it. That's my full review of the Twilight Saga. It's been going for 1 hour and 35 minutes. It was a long one. I had a lot to say. You know, again, these are my favorite films of all time, and I just felt like it was, worth making the video. Worth making the video. lots of different films. Anything as well, maybe. Oh, hang on. Sorry about that, I had the fans on, and yeah, it is a hot one today, and welcome to a very special video here on the Blu-ray Brothers channel. Oh, I'm boiling up already. Unfortunately, it's a really hot day, yet it's not sunny enough to actually give good lighting to this video. Unfortunately, it is what it is, and I'm not going to turn the lights on. So yeah, this is a very special video for the Blu-ray Brothers channel. It is 1920s week, which is my idea. I'm very passionate about the 20s in terms of cinema, and over the past year or so, it really has become one of my favourite decades for film. Just so many fantastic movies, and there's so many that I've yet to see as well. So instead of doing a review today on my day on Wednesday like we've done throughout the past couple of weeks, I wanted to talk about more than one film, and I wanted to talk about films I hadn't seen before, so after watching them obviously. So I decided to make this a special video to cap off this first month of the Blu-ray Brothers channel, and yeah, it's just been awesome. I've really enjoyed this, and it's been great to kind of work alongside two of my best friends and two of my favourite YouTubers, Robbie Webster and Ryan Chataway. It's been awesome. We've had a lot of fun doing the skits and stuff, and turned this into a really fun channel, I think, so it's been awesome. It really has been. So yeah, I want to do something special. So this is my silent marathon, where I'll be watching a bunch of films from the 20s I haven't seen before, through a couple of different methods: Blu-ray, DVD, Netflix, and yeah, I'll be talking to you about them while I'm watching them, kind of a marathon vlog style video, much in the same vein as I did my 24-hour movie marathon 3 this year and the past couple of years. But hopefully this won't turn into a 3-hour long video, but it will be a long one, I think, but maybe like 15, 20, maybe half an hour. I'll try and keep it shorter than half an hour, but we'll see what happens. So first of all, what movies am I going to be watching? Because I've picked out quite a few. I might not get through all of them, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. And there's also one more coming in the post for my birthday money, which I've been waiting for a while now, and when that turns up I really want to watch it and talk about it as part of this week. And luckily I'm doing this video a couple of weeks before you'll be seeing this, so I should get it before the week happens. So maybe I'll add kind of me watching that to the end of this video and make it kind of like a double marathon. I don't know, we'll see what happens, but if I get that Blu-ray and I decide to make a video while I'm watching it, I'll add this at the end of this marathon, because I really want to talk about that film as well. So yeah, there's also a package which should be here today. I've been waiting for it for over a week now, and yeah, just got to try and check the mailbox and see if it's there. So I'm going to bring the camera with me now to see if it's in the mailbox. This could be a complete waste of time, I won't put it in the video, but we'll see if something's there, and yeah, let's go. Ah, there we go. Awesome. Okay, so here we go. Here's the package, and it's, you know, considering the postage I paid for it with the Amazon gift card I got for my birthday, it's very flimsy packaging, and it's bent at the edges and stuff. And look, it's a good thing they're not steelbooks or anything, limited edition or anything. They're just two Amory, you know, cases, so it should be fine. I'm going to open this up on my Razor Reviews channel, which if you follow my channel, you've probably seen it already. But and then I'll show you on this video what they are. Alright, it's actually a couple of hours later, and luckily it's cooled down, but the sun's gone down as well, and it's really kind of dull outside, so I put the lights on, I should say. And here's what I got in the package. One of them was M, Fritz Lang movie, which I also already have. I have the Criterion of it back home, and I'm kicking myself for not having watched it now because I've become a huge Fritz Lang fan since. But yeah, I got the UK version as well because the Massive Cinema series is fantastic, and I want to own all of them someday. It's a much more achievable goal than owning all of the Criterion Collection Blu-rays, but I think there's only about 90 out so far. But yeah, can't wait to check this out. It's got two versions of the film, tons of extras. But yeah, this is from 1931, I want to say. The label is covering it. Yeah, 1931. So it's not from the 30s, so we won't be watching that today. But one of the other Blu-rays in there, was only two, was Sunrise, or Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. And now this actually won an Oscar in the very first Academy Awards ceremony. I can't remember the year. It wasn't the year this came out. It was like a couple of years after, maybe 1928, 1929, something like that. And but it didn't win Best Picture. It won Best Artistic Film or something like that. I should really know the facts, but this won Best Artistic Film, and Wings won Outstanding Picture, which is kind of seen as the Best Picture award. And this was the only time they really gave 2 awards to a film for kind of Best Picture, and they kind of were still in the feeling out process of what to call the awards and who to give the awards and stuff. But I do believe the lead actress in this, Janet Gaynor, won the Best Actress award, although it was for all the films she'd appeared in the previous year, not just this film. But still, a film that is apparently fantastic. It's by F.W. Murnau. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but a fantastic German director, and this was one of his first, or maybe his first film in Hollywood, as far as I'm aware. It's got the 20th Century Fox, the old Fox logo down in the corner of the Blu-ray, so I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. But yeah, I'll find out more about it. Here we go. I should have just looked at the back cover. A never repeated award for unique and artistic picture. So there you go. And again, did win 3 Oscars, cinematography as well as the Best Actress for Janet Gaynor. So yeah, can't wait to check this out. And before I do that, I'm going to show you what this Blu-ray looks like, because this video is going to be a big mishmash of vlogger-y type stuff and also just Blu-ray stuff. So let's have a look at this edition, and I'll open it and show you what's inside. So here we go. Here it is, Sunrise, The Song of Two Humans with Janet Gaynor and George O'Brien, filmed by F.W. Murnau from 20th Century Fox, and it's the Eureka Massive Cinema Series, which is pretty much the UK equivalent to the Criterion Collection, I think. And it is a dual format edition containing both the Blu-ray and DVD versions of the film, and it is #1 in the series. And yeah, let's open this up and check out the inside, because the Eureka Massive Cinema Series, they always put a great amount of effort into the detail of the Blu-ray releases and the DVD releases, and there's always a booklet and some inside artwork as well. And I love the fact they use these clear Amaray cases. It makes it seem really special and more than just your average Blu-ray, I guess. And yeah, the fun fact is this was the first Blu-ray ever released of a silent movie, and in the UK from the Massive Cinema Series. It was a different edition from this. Had everything was the same, but it was just a blue case. So this is kind of like a re-release with the clear case. But yeah, so Sunrise was the first Blu-ray released of a silent movie. And now this has the film restored. 2 different versions: the movie tone version, which features kind of the soundtrack and special effects, and a Czech print, so kind of like the European version, which is slightly shorter. And we have the original English intertitles on the movie tone version, and optional English subtitles on the Czech version. Original movie tone score, alternate score, full-length audio commentary, rare outtakes with commentary as well, a documentary, The Traces of a Lost Film, original theatrical trailer, and a 20-page booklet. And there's all the information there about the actual Blu-ray. It is Region B, unfortunately, for anyone who would want to import this. And oh, just look at that booklet, that's fantastic. I believe that's one of the original poster artwork there that's used for the booklet. And yeah, that just looks incredible. I love that. Really vintage. And again, I think this must be an original poster as well, which is used in the front cover. So inside we've got like notes on viewing, how you should correctly be seeing the film, so that you're not kind of taking away the sidebars on your TV or anything like that. Talking about the Blu-ray and the sound, missing footage, different edits, aspect ratio. Yeah, this is mainly about the restoration of the film, actually. A lot of the times these booklets will have information on the making of the film, but this one is very focused on the actual Blu-ray itself, which is very cool, and I'm always interested in that and the process of restoration. And you've got some nice pictures here as well. We have the Blu-ray here, I think. I think this is the Blu-ray. This is the movie tone version plus supplements. And this is the Czech version plus the trailer. I believe actually those 2 are DVDs, because they don't look like Blu-rays. So we've got the first DVD, the second DVD of both versions, and this one, which does have the Blu-ray logo, so this is the Blu-ray and has both versions of the film. There you go, Sunrise. I like the color of the disc and the slight gradient, not gradient, but the kind of the lined effect on that. There you go. And then there's some nice inside artwork as well. So yeah, fantastic release. I love this, and I love that the well, the Blu-ray and the DVD are the same, but you know, we've got different color on the second DVD at least. So yeah, just an absolutely stacked edition. I love it, and I can't wait to check out the film, which will be right now, obviously. So yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, so there you go. Hope you enjoyed that look at the Blu-ray, and now I'm going to watch the film itself. I'm not eating anything right now. I had cereal earlier this morning. I'm not too hungry, so I'll probably have a sandwich later. Not too sure, but yeah, not really eating anything at the minute, so nothing to show you in terms of that. I'm just going to sit down, relax, and enjoy the film. Can't wait to see it. I've been waiting a long time to see it, and to check it out on Blu-ray for the first time is going to be really cool, I think. So yeah, I'm really low down the camera. Sorry about that. So I'll let you know my thoughts on Sunrise once I finish watching it, so let's check it out. Well, this started off with something of a disaster. Had my little glass of squash ready to drink, and I spilt it all over the floor, so I've currently washed it and put down some... I'm sure you really appreciate seeing my bare feet there, but yeah, I had to put down some tissue as well. I soaked it all up and cleaned it, but still very annoying, and I'm about to watch the film now anyway. Got a lollipop ready. I'm looking forward to that because it's still quite hot even though it's cooled down a bit. Watching the Blu-ray on my PlayStation 3, as you can see the menu is up now. They always do great jobs with their menus, even though there's no sound. It is a silent film, so I guess it's appropriate. So we have the movie tone version, and we have the Czech version. I'm going to go with the movie tone version because it's the kind of the original version of the movie as far as I'm aware, and because it's, you know, longer. And we have, you know, outtakes and the trailer and the documentary. So yeah, let's go right ahead with the movie tone version. Here we go. Sunrise, Song of Two Humans. Let the silent marathon. So I'm about 25 minutes into the film and I'm just captivated. I'm really on edge about what's going on in the film right now. There's a lot of tension. I wasn't expecting it from this film. Yeah, but loving it so far. Just really anxious as to where this is going. So yeah, I've honestly gone from that sense of dread that I had when I was just filming earlier to almost crying, honestly. Well, almost tearing up, not crying, but you know. It's like when people say I cried during the film when just a tear rolled down, but I almost teared up at one point, and now I'm just literally smiling as I watch the film. And it's like when you watch a comedy, or me when I watch a comedy and I find it funny, but I don't laugh or smile, but I still enjoy it. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with, like, you know, happy films. You know, I don't really smile when I watch them that much, but this one is really making me smile, like actually smiling. Not with my teeth, but you know, just a little. I don't know. It's hard to replicate or explain, but it's just, this film is such a weird mix of emotions for me, and yeah, I can't wait to talk about it when it's all when it's all done. Wow, it's just really something else. So I'm about 10 minutes before the end of the film now, and I'm just racked with tension again. This film is just is dragging me through the ringer. I can't remember the last time I've been this invested in how the film ends. I'm not putting this reaction on. I'm gonna check how long's left. You see, in modern films, I can see things going this way, and know it might go a different way, but this is the 20s. The rules don't apply, especially for a film as unique as this and as. And again, I'm not putting this reaction on. I don't know how it's coming across, but again, just the range of emotions I'm feeling through this. it just really goes to show you how powerful a film can be, whether it's silent or not, you know. I mean, you could liken this to, I shouldn't be talking while it's going on, but it just seems like it's just a range of emotions, and how strongly I felt them throughout this film has really been incredible. And just oh my god, I hate this. It's like 4 minutes until it's over, and I just want to find out. No. Stop it. God. Oh my god. Ah, man, that was something. Well, it is. It's still not finished yet, but it's some really funny moments in this as well. That was brilliant. I'm gonna go set this camera up in the tripod while I compose myself. Okay, so sunrise. I didn't plan on filming myself while I was watching that film in any way, shape or form, but I guess that's kind of the fun thing about making videos. Sometimes it takes you places you didn't think you'd go with it, and wow, this movie, I have to say that this is probably going to be one of my favourite films of all time after that, and part of me was kind of going into this hoping that I would, you know, so maybe it's kind of, I'm projecting myself on, I'm projecting my hope for it to be one of my favourite films onto it, but I don't think that's the case. It really was fantastic. You know, George O'Brien and Janet Gaynor were just amazing in this film, and you know, with silent films they had to exaggerate things more so it would come across on screen with the actions as opposed to the words. You know, and I find, you know, that, well, I've seen a lot of silent films now by this point. I've really gotten into them, and there are some which use minimal, you know, intertitles, you know, like the slides with the dialogue, and there's some that use a lot of intertitles, and the effect varies, I think. I like it when there's a lot of information, I like it when there's hardly any, and in this one there is so little dialogue, it's insane. I mean, it really is. It's probably the I don't say the most silent film I've seen, but it's the film that probably has the least dialogue of a silent film I've seen, and it still worked so well, and I just loved it. It was such an amazing film. I absolutely adored it from start to finish. Well, it took me a few minutes to get into it because it was quite different from what I was expecting in terms of the setup to it. I knew most of what the story was about, and I don't know whether I should even tell you because I want you to just go out and experience this clean, but it's about love. It's about love, you know, it is a love story, and it's about that joy of love, you know, and finding that again. And there is a part, I'll just tell you the story. If you really want to see this and not see it blind, then just skip a couple of minutes of the video. But you got these two characters here. They don't have names, you know, just a man and his wife. You know, they're peasants, they live on a farm, you know, in a kind of rural area, and as the film opens, he's kind of being adulterous. He's cheating on his wife with this woman here, who's kind of the city kind of you know, temptress, I guess you could call her, and she kind of tempts him away from his wife, and she wants him to come and live in the city with her. and you know he's kind of seduced by her, and she suggests that he kills his wife and drowns her and makes it look like an accident. And to this he explodes with rage over, because you know that it's such a horrible thing, and it rightly is, and he almost, you know, throttles this woman who he's cheating on his wife with, but she manages to tempt him to do it still, and so he takes his wife out on the boat, and you know he considers it, and you know when his wife realizes that he's about to do something to her, she is terrified and heartbroken, and you know she runs away, and he follows after her, and they go into the city, and they have this beautiful day together, and it takes you through so many range of emotions, from dread, the tension of what's going to happen next. You know, is he going to do it? What is he going to do? And the only thing I can criticize about this film is that it's such a broad thing for him to even consider killing his wife, to leave her for another woman, and then to kind of, you know, find his love for his wife again, and to be so happy again. But you kind of look at it as a kind of a fairy tale almost. It really is. And some of the special effects in this movie are fantastic. Just, F.W. Murnau did an amazing job with this movie. And it says here that you know, he was invited to Hollywood by William Fox and given total artistic freedom on any project he wished. And you know, he came up with this tale of an idyllic marriage of a peasant couple threatened by a vamp-like seductress from the city, and created a milestone of film expressionism. There is a lot of expressionism in it, and it's weird because when I watch it I think of a German expressionistic kind of film. You know, it's not completely expressionistic, but there's elements of it, but it's an American film, so it's interesting. But yeah, just great performances. You know, the Janet Gaynor really deserved the Oscar, I think. I really felt for her. I really did feel for her character, and yeah, just that whole time when they're having this great adventure in the city is just a joy to watch, a real joy. And yeah, and the whole ending, I won't give away the ending, but I was just so hooked into it. They got me completely. They played me like a fiddle. And my cat is now trying to jump up somewhere she's not supposed to jump, so I'm going to have to get her down a second. Get down! There you go. I'll leave that in, actually. Yes, Sunrise, absolutely fantastic. Adored it from start to finish. The music was great. It looked great. Again, the special effects, and you wouldn't think there'd be special effects in a film about, you know, a romance, but there's lots of really cool shots in it, and I won't give them away, but they just, yeah, and some fantastic sets. Just this real sense of grandeur in the big city, and oh, what a film. I'm going to have to say it's one of my favourite films ever, just because it took me through those range of emotions, from feeling happy, actually laughing out loud a little at some of the comedy, and feeling so affected by the emotion, you know. And yeah, the emotion gets a little broad at times, but I just love that about it. And George O'Brien, what a transformation, you know. It's a really simple thing, but he had kind of a stubble throughout the film until they went into the city and they kind of, you know, fell back in love with each other again, and he went to a barber and he got a clean shave, and he looked like a completely different guy. But it's also the way he acted and his body language when he was, you know, tempted by this woman and, you know, contemplating killing his wife. I don't think he was really contemplating it, but you know, he was very torn over it. So at least like that part I can kind of, you know, allow, I guess. Again, you just see it as more of a fairy tale and a kind of morality play than anything. Well, I guess morality is not really something that's explored with any kind of realism in this, but, well, I guess it is. It's just that one thing is a niggle, but for me, shut up. I'm trying to do a review here of a film I really liked, and you're crying for no good reason. The window's open, you have food, you have water, you got no reason to cry. That's right. Can I finish the review now? Yeah, thank you. So yeah, one more thing. There's a scene in the film where a pig gets set loose, and it goes into a kitchen. A really funny scene, and the cook drops a bottle of wine, and the pig starts licking the wine off the floor. And there's a great close-up shot of the pig looking kind of, you know, like he's drunk, and then he's kind of sipping at the wine and kind of slipping and falling over. And this was really made in a time where, you know, animal guidelines and things like that were not really around, and honestly I could definitely see it being a fact that they did let the pig drink real wine and get a little tipsy, which is not cool. I'm going to try and let myself believe that they just made the floor slippery so that it slipped a couple of times. I mean, it didn't look like it was completely wasted, but that is my only real niggle, and also the just the broadness of the killing the wife thing. But it does come into play later on in a very cool way, and just made the emotional impact of the ending all the sweeter. And for me this is 10 out of 10, and for me this, oh, what a film. I'm so glad this came in the mail today. I'm so glad that I watched this today, and I could happily just finish the marathon now. And I've talked for quite a while already, and this is probably getting stupidly long of a video, but Sunrise, absolutely fantastic. Oh, love it. Do you know what? I'm going to watch another F.W. Murnau film. I'm going to go to a completely opposite end of the spectrum, and I'm going to check out a film he made 5 years previously. I'm going to go pick it up now. I'll leave the camera on, and we'll see what happens. Alrighty, so this is another film I got kind of with my birthday money, and it is a steelbook version, which is really cool. And it's another movie that's been released by Eureka in the Massive Cinema series, and it is sorry about that, I'll keep that in. Nosferatu, A Symphony of Terror by F.W. Murnau. And this is one of his German films. He filmed it in Germany in 1922. Or probably 21, I guess, but it was released in 1922. And this is kind of, I'm not sure if it's the first Dracula film, but it's one of the earliest, you know, and one of the creepiest apparently, one of the best apparently. So I'm really looking forward to checking this out. I've seen the Universal Dracula from the 30s with Bela Lugosi, and I really love that movie. I don't think they had the rights to Dracula though, because they couldn't call him Count Dracula, they called him Count Orlok, and this is him there on the front, and he's portrayed in the movie by the actor Max Schreck. And any Batman, or in particular Batman Returns fans, will know that Christopher Walken's character in that film is called Max Schreck, in tribute to the actor who played Nosferatu in this film. In fact, I'm not even sure if he's known as Nosferatu in this film, but I know he's known as Count Orlok. But either way, yeah, it's well, yeah, I guess because Count Dracula, I don't know, whatever. But before I check this out, I'm going to show you the steelbook and show you everything that's inside, show you the artwork and stuff like that. Make this more of a varied video, and we'll dive right into it. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, so let's have a look at the Blu-ray first. Alright, so this is the second kind of close look at an F.W. Murnau Blu-ray I've done today, which is quite interesting, and it is Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. I love this steelbook, I love the artwork, I think it's so creepy, and just, yeah, really, really cool. Nice matte finish to it. I love the Masters of Cinema steelbook releases. They always have great, clean, interesting front covers, nice colour themes to the steelbooks. I love how the title is kind of curved there, and the F.W. Murnau Massive Cinema series. This is number 70 in the collection. This came out last year. And then the back is always clean, which some people would find a problem with, and I do as well. I don't like it when a steelbook is lazy and there's nothing on the back, but I really like this. It really fits the kind of classy feel of the series, I think. And you always get the credits, which is a nice touch, I think, in the title of the film. So, yeah, it is what it is, but I just love this steelbook, it's fantastic. Let's have a look inside. It is a dual format edition, so we have the Blu-ray here, and we have the DVD here. And they're both slightly different shades, so I like that differentiation as well. Is that even a word? And a really big booklet here, really thick, much thicker than the Sunrise booklet. They've really beefed these up over the past couple of years. Great artwork on the front there, and a picture on the back. And there's just tons of stuff in here, just loads of information. The writing's really small as well, so they've really packed in a lot of stuff on this book, which is brilliant for a film as iconic as Nosferatu. Yeah, brilliant booklet, and some cool pictures and images. And then we have the inside, which has a nice kind of colour to it, similar to the back of the steelbook, and a great image from the film as well. Love that. So there you go. That's the close look at this Blu-ray steelbook version, and I will of course be watching the Blu-ray, not the DVD. And yeah, I'll just put it back in for now, just because I'm a bit of a OCD nerd about stuff like that. But yeah, there's the Nosferatu steelbook, and let's get on with the film. I'm really looking forward to checking this one out for the first time. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that look at the Blu-ray. Now let's just pop it in and watch another F.W. Murnau film. Here's the menu for Nosferatu, and we got play the film with stereo score or 5.1 surround. Apparently the sound is really good on this Blu-ray. You know, commentaries, you know, language of shadows. You know, got great extras on here, and again, just that amazing artwork. I love that. So creepy. I'm gonna get a sandwich first before we start, and then we'll carry on with this silent marathon. So here's the opening of the film, Overture, and there was a little thing at the beginning explaining everything about the restoration of this film, and the FWMS down there is kind of just stamping it to let you know that this isn't part of the original print. They've recreated this intertitle to make it look like it was from the original, but it is a recreation. I don't know if I like that they've stamped it like that with such a bland font as well. It just I don't know, throws me a little, but I love the way they've kind of recreated it. I'm guessing this is an original shot, so here we go, Nosferatu. Cool. Alright, that was it. Nosferatu, A Symphony of Terror, just finished. Now we got some credits about the restoration. So, what did I think of this classic movie that's hailed as a masterpiece of horror and cinema in general? I wanted to love it more than I actually did, I think. I think my expectations were too high, and probably from how much I loved Sunrise, and especially considering it's the same director, F.W. What was it? I actually looked it up before I started the film. I've been saying Murnau. It's Murnau, okay? Murnau, okay. Murnau, F.W. Murnau. I've heard conflicting reports, but the two commentaries on this Blu-ray, I listened to the first minute to hear what the experts were saying, and they were saying F.W. Murnau, so Murnau it is. And he directed, Sunrise, A Song to Humans, and this one, Nosferatu, A Symphony of Terror. It's a great movie. I loved it. There was some bits of it that I thought were just fantastic. The scenery, the cinematography, the lighting, the mood that was created through the visuals was fantastic, and the atmosphere was great. I can't help but feeling though that the creepy kind of dark gothic atmosphere and production design was done a little bit better in the Bela Lugosi Dracula film. But this is different. It's not quite. It is Dracula, but it isn't. I mean, they didn't have the rights to this, and I think they were sued over it as well. Of course, as I mentioned before, Max Schreck plays Count Orlok, or Nosferatu there, and just a creepy performance, a great performance, with the long fingers and the nails and just the wide eyes, and the very iconic performance and a great performance, and kind of one that's he's not really on screen for a lot of the film, but when he is, his presence is felt, and his presence is felt throughout as well. I love the tinting in the film. There was kind of an orangey, yellowy kind of tint. I'm a bit colorblind, but that kind of a tint over most of the film, as if that was like normal, a normal lit situation, whereas if it was supposed to be, the nighttime, that would be denoted by black and white footage. So it wasn't really black and white for that much of the film. It was mainly this orangey, yellowy tint, and then also red, a kind of a reddish tint was used as well in different scenes, and it really just lended a brilliant style to the look of the film, I think. Yeah, it made it stand out and was special, I think, even though I know a lot of other silent films were tinted and so on. But yeah, I really liked the use of tinting in the film. The direction was great. The music was brilliant. I loved the music. Great score, and it sounded fantastic, and the Blu-ray looked great as well. A few niggles though. I mean, as I showed you at the beginning, the little FWMS in the bottom left hand of the screen whenever an intertitle was recreated as opposed to not being an original. I like the fact that they tell you that it's not an original intertitle, but it was like just an annoying little stamp, like you're watching like a screener of a movie or something, like a little time code or a copyright code, and I just didn't like it. I wish it was optional. I wish there was like a subtitle track that would allow you to know which intertitles were original and which were recreated, but not have it forced onto the movie. Whenever it came up, it kind of just distracted me a little and took me out of it a tiny bit. Really minor niggle, but it is what it is. And there was another character called Nock who sent off, our main character to meet with Count Orlok to make the deal for him to buy the house. If you're familiar with the Dracula story, it's kind of similar. And this Nock character, he became obsessed with serving his master Nosferatu, and he never really had contact with him, so you've got to kind of assume it's like a psychic connection. Again, I'm not too well versed in the Dracula story. I can't remember if there was a character like that in the films or any other of the iterations of Dracula that there have been and adapted from the original novel. But his character just I just didn't care for it. It was every time it cut to him, I was like, oh, more of this guy. I want to see more of Nosferatu. I want to see more of Count Orlok and the main character. But we kept coming back to this Knock character who was in jail, and then he broke out, and then he was put back in jail, and it just seemed like there wasn't much point to that. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of his character, even though he looked kind of crazy. He just there was just a very one-note character for me. And yeah, I mean, a few little things I didn't like, but mostly I loved it. I thought it was great. There's a great little scene that, again, I wasn't quite sure why it was there. There's probably a reason for it. I mean, I'm no film expert, but I loved it anyway. It was a little shot of a Venus flytrap and a fly landing on it, and the Venus flytrap closing on its prey, and I just loved that. I just loved the fact that it was like a almost 100-year-old footage of a Venus flytrap. It just was interesting to me. Loved the film. Well, again, I did say when I started I didn't love it. I'm torn. I'm kind of in the middle of really liking it and loving it. Somewhere in between there. I think I'd give this like an 8.5 out of 10. Maybe an 8. I'm not sure. It's one of those things I'm going to have to rewatch. But I really enjoyed it and was great. But I think maybe starting with Sunrise, which I just absolutely adored, was probably the wrong decision. I don't know. I'm still on a high from that film, so Nosferatu, absolutely loved. Again, why do I say that? I say it's almost like I feel like I should say that. You know, it's being dishonest in a way. There's Nosferatu. I really liked it. I really liked it. I absolutely liked it. There we go. I do feel an obligation almost to say that I enjoyed it more than I did. But if I'm being honest with myself, it is a classic. It is a masterpiece. But I think I need to watch it again. And I just say that I really liked it. So there we go. I'm going to have a shower now, and it's gotten really cool, which is great. I mean, the sun's gone down, so I have to turn the lights on to do the video, but yeah, it's really cooled down. I might show you the thermostat, or the temperature gauge outside, because it was like nearly 30 degrees earlier, and it has been for about a week and a half. It's been unbearable. But I've actually turned the fans off now, and it's really comfortable. In fact, I'm actually wearing my I don't know if I can get this in shot without being really awkward. I have my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pajama pants on, which interesting story and completely off topic, but I love these because one, they're Ninja Turtles, and two, it's the exact same color as a Ninja Turtles blanket cover I had when I was a kid, and it's almost the same design as well, so it reminds me of being a kid. But yeah, I had to put those on because it was actually getting a little chilly, which is awesome. The heat has been unbearable lately. Anyway, this is going on far too long. I apologise for all the random stuff in this video, and I'm only done 2 films so far, so I'm going to try and speed up the process. I'm going to go for a shower, come back, and tell you about the next film I'm going to watch in this mini silent marathon. So, yeah. Alright, so I've had a shower, I'm feeling good, feeling refreshed, feeling ready to continue this silent marathon, and the next film is going to be a Buster Keaton movie. I got turned on to Keaton's work during my 24-hour movie marathon 3 this year. Which you can check out on my channel, which is really long though, and I just fell in love with Buster Keaton. I've subsequently watched almost all of the films that Netflix has to offer that star Buster Keaton, and there's only one film left, and that's the one I'm going to be watching. So let's have a look at Netflix now, and I'll kind of talk about the ones I have watched. So yeah, over to Netflix. Okay, so here they are. We have all of the Buster Keaton movies that are currently available on Netflix. There are 7 titles here. First one is Go West, which is a great little film where Buster Keaton plays a guy who ends up on a kind of a farm out in the West, and he's trying to be a cowboy and failing terribly at it, and he befriends this cow, and it's quite a sweet story actually, and in typical Keaton fashion it ends in this massive sequence at the end of the film in the city of Los Angeles, and it's just a fantastic little movie. Next we have Sherlock Jr., which is just incredible, some of the best special effects you'll see from the 1920s. So ingenious, so funny, brilliant film. 7 Chances, Buster Keaton plays a young man who is in a bit of financial trouble with his business and his life, and he finds out that an ancestor, or not ancestor, sorry, but a relative has kind of left him a load of money, but only on the condition that he gets married by his 27th birthday, which is that afternoon. So he has a few hours to go back to his kind of the girl that he loves, who he never confesses true feelings for, and confess his love to her and ask her to marry him. And she agrees, but he kind of, again in classic Keaton fashion, he puts his foot in his mouth and says, well, I need to marry someone by today. And so she gets offended, and he has to try and find someone else. And there's 7 women who he's acquainted with, and he tries to kind of get them to marry him, and it just snowballs from there. And it's one of the more low-key Buster Keaton films. Not as much crazy stunts going on, but there are some genius little, pieces of direction, and a sequence at the end that just keeps almost literally snowballing, and it just gets crazier and crazier. Then we have The General, which is one of my favourite films of all time now. Absolutely amazing movie. Just basically an hour-long train chase sequence with lots of stunts and amazing cinematography, amazing direction, and amazing performances. Keaton's amazing in the film. How many times am I going to say amazing? Probably a lot when I talk about Buster Keaton, but I'm a big fan of trains, and so the scenery is amazing. I said it again without even meaning to. The scenery is fantastic and exuberant and and marvelous and magnificent. No, but The General is his best film, I think. Next, Three Ages. We get a kind of a simple love story told through three different generations, well, not even generations, three eras, three ages. The Stone Age, the Roman Age, and the Modern Age. It's a pretty good one. I enjoyed it a lot. Again, some cool special effects and some cool stunts. And then we have Steamboat Bill Jr., which is another brilliant movie with just some fantastic stunt work. And this features the classic shot of the house falling down on Keaton and the window, sparing him his life, which literally could have killed him. Amazing stunt. But this is the one I haven't seen, Our Hospitality. Now, before we get to watching this, it says it's an hour and 57 minutes long, which is unusual because most of Keaton's films are around an hour long, maybe an hour 15 minutes at the most. And I've looked it up on IMDb, and apparently this film is 65 minutes long, and there's an alternate version which is 75 minutes long, so I have no idea where the 2-hour version comes from. Maybe they've slowed down the frame rate or something, I really don't know. I tried to find out some information about it, but as far as I can, there's nothing online about the 2-hour version of this movie, but it is what it is, and let's check it out. Okay, so I'm near the end of Our Hospitality. It seems like the film's coming to a natural conclusion where I thought it was leading, and there's still like 45 minutes left on Netflix, so again, I'm not sure. It looks like it's about to end, so I'm really intrigued as to why if there's going to be like 45 minutes of just blank at the end of this, or what. Great movie, by the way. Wow. I mean, I almost wish it was another 45 minutes long, to be honest. Yeah, it's just, I can't see it going any further than this, so I'm not sure why. It's 2 hours long on Netflix. Oh, that's great. Yeah, at the end. There's still 44 minutes and 10 seconds left on Netflix. Just blank. Ah, okay. Buster Keaton in Sherlock Jr. What the hell? It's a double feature. That's strange that they wouldn't list that on Netflix, or at least get a copy that was just singular. It's odd. It's Sherlock Jr. starting to play. I guess it's just a double feature then. Oh, there you go. How to Be a Detective. Let me see if. Yeah, this hasn't been in. This has only been in 480 standard definition, which is a shame because some of these Keaton films have been in 720p high definition. They've looked fantastic, particularly The General, which looked amazing. In fact, I think that was a 1080p not transfer, but master. But that's okay. You know, I still really enjoyed it, and this music sounds different in the version I've watched. Let me just check that really quickly. I guess it is the same. Well, whatever. That was just a complete detour that I'll just leave in for no good reason other than the fact that I've filmed so much by now. I need to, quicken up my editing. Okay, so I just started to try and review the film and I got completely lost. It was a complete clustermuck, so I'm gonna try again. The movie Our Hospitality, and I'll read it from the beginning of the movie. Once upon a time, in certain sections of the United States, there were feuds that ran from generation to generation. which is what this film's about. It's kind of like a blood family feud kind of thing going on. Men of one family grow up killing men of another family for no other reason except that their fathers had done so. So it's just like, it's got to the point where they're killing each other, you know, and there's this blood feud between families, and they just don't even know what the original issue was. This story concerns the old-time feud between the Canfield and Mackay families as it existed around the year of 1810. So the film opens with a prologue where we see you know, one of the Canfields, who are kind of the bad guys of the movie, want to go and kill, you know, the John Mackay, who's the father of Buster Keaton's character, who's only a little baby at the beginning of the movie. And one of the Canfield brothers is like, look, just, can we not do all this killing? And the other Canfield brother says, no, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to go shoot him. So he goes off and he shoots John Mackay, and John Mackay shoots him. And so the Canfields think that John Mackay has shot, you know, their guy, and then the same thing, vice versa. So again, it just continues. And Buster Keaton's mother, she takes him off to New York to keep him away from this thing, and she dies eventually. And the film starts in full with Buster Keaton as the young Mackay, who lives with his aunt. You know, his mother's dead, and he finds out that he's inherited his father's estate, and he imagines this big mansion and stuff. So he's like, oh, I'm going to go to this estate. So he leaves New York and goes back to his hometown, and there's this really big trip on this kind of really weird old-timey train, which was really cool, and some great stuff in that whole sequence. And a really funny bit where it says something like Broadway and 42nd Street in New York as it was in 1830, and you look at it and it just looks like a farmland, you know. And there's this bit where Buster Keaton's walking down, or he's on a little bike, and he has to stop because there's a horse and carriage going past the road. And it's just this little dirt road, and there's a guy there like controlling the traffic, and he goes, this road's going to get really busy someday. I just thought that was such a funny little aside. And just a comment on how crazy New York is now, or it was, you know, in the early 1900s, I guess. But that was a really funny little random bit. But you know, he as he's traveling back to his hometown, he's traveling with this girl, and he kind of falls in love with her, and she kind of likes him as well. And they have this adventure on the train, get into the hometown. And I know that Buster Keaton loved trains, and it's so evident in this movie, even more so 3 years later when he made The General. And yeah, and basically this whole thing comes about where she's the daughter of the Canfield family, you know, and so the Canfield, who initially at the beginning of the movie in the prologue was like, you know, can we stop this killing, is now hell-bent on continuing the grudge because he believes his brother was shot by John Mackay, you know, maliciously, which wasn't the case, it was self-defense. I might be going too far into this, but they want to kill this young Buster Keaton, the young Mackay, I forgot what his actual name was, and but he's fallen in love with their daughter slash sister, but they can't kill him when he's in their house, and he becomes their guest, and he kind of makes up excuses to stay in their home, and you know, they're like, well, you know, our hospitality, and they have to look after him, but you know, they want to kill him. So anytime he leaves the house, they're trying to shoot him, and it just ends up in this massive chase at the end, and it's just absolutely incredible. There's this stunt where he swings off this log across this 50-foot waterfall that was probably almost definitely a stage. It had to be a stage, but it was still really tall, and it looked really real, and it was really massive in scope. They must have spent a lot of money on the sets on this film, but there was some great location work as well. And he swings from this log, and he catches this girl as she falls over the edge of the waterfall, and just the timing of it is amazing. And I could tell that they must have used a dummy for one of the shots, but another one of the shots, he is literally swinging upside down, holding a woman, and then launches her onto the ledge. It is incredible stunt work. He's just fantastic. He's an absolute genius. He directed this film as well. He directed most of his films throughout this period, and Buster Keaton, absolute legend. And as I was saying, you know, earlier on, with all the Buster Keaton films that are on Netflix, there are many more. But for me, I think Our Hospitality is one of his absolute best. I definitely give it a 10 out of 10. I'm still just buzzing over the fact that I've watched 2 films today that I would consider a 10 out of 10 classic. This is what being a film fan's all about for me. I mean, just wow, that was awesome. Yeah, so the Buster Keaton title's on Netflix, you know, Go West, 3 Ages, 7 Chances, really good films. Then you get Steamboat Bill Jr. and Sherlock Jr., which are fantastic films. And then you got The General and Our Hospitality, which for me are absolute masterpieces. And oh, that was brilliant, absolutely awesome. So there we go. There is one more film I think I'd like to watch. There's a couple more. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get through them, so I'll regroup and I'll come back to you and see what happens. And by this point I'm realising that this video is probably going so long, and it is what it is. I'm just enjoying myself and I'm just documenting it to put on this channel. I hope you guys have enjoyed some of it at least, and we will continue very soon. Well, for you it'll be instantaneous, but I'm going to take a little break. Okay, I've decided what I'm going to go with next, and you know, it's getting a bit late. It doesn't get, I mean, the sun's coming out again now. I mean, the sun just doesn't seem to go away. Well, it goes away, but I mean, it's still quite light here until 2 o'clock in the morning. It gets dark around 3 AM and then it starts getting bright again around 5 AM. So I need to remind myself that the time is ticking on and it's getting a bit late now. But I'm going to go with one more film, and then I'll probably kind of do a little add-on at the end, and then finish this thing off. So we've had, you know, the fairy tale melodrama of Sunrise. We've had the atmospheric horror that was Nosferatu, and we've had the great comedy and spectacle of Our Hospitality. So I'm going to go with science fiction now, with another Eureka Massive Cinema release. I have a DVD screener that was sent to me by Eureka, and it is a press release for a film that is about to come out in August of this year on Blu-ray and DVD. It'll be a dual format edition. 25th of August 2014 it's coming out, and it is Fritz Lang's final silent movie, Frau im Mond, which is roughly translated to, well, not roughly, but it is translated into The Woman in the Moon. And just look at that artwork. I love that artwork. I really can't wait to get this Blu-ray when it comes out, and it just looks fantastic. But yeah, it's got some cool special features, you know, a 1080p transfer of the FW Murnau Stiftung restoration, original German intertitles with newly translated optional English subtitles, and the first scientific science fiction film, a German documentary about Frau im Mond, made by Gabriel Jacobi, and that's 15 minutes long. There'll also be a 36-page booklet with the film, which will include newly revised analysis by Michael E. Gross on the film and on Fritz Lang's body of work as a whole, and more. So I have the DVD screener here, not the Blu-ray unfortunately, but still, Massive Cinema do a fantastic job with their releases, so I'm going to pop this check disc in, and I'm going to check it out. But for me, this release, this Blu-ray release coming out in August 25th is probably my second most anticipated Blu-ray release of 2014. Cannot wait. Haven't seen the film yet, but I just know I'm going to love this one. It's science fiction, it's Fritz Lang, and it's set on the moon, you know, and I love moon movies. You know, I just watched Apollo 13 the other day, and I just love movies set in space. I used to be such a fan of, a space enthusiast when I was a kid. I wanted to be an astronaut. You know, it's that thing where, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an astronaut. It's one of those typical cliche things that kids come up and say, but I actually wanted to be an astronaut because I loved space so much. I devoured information about it. I did projects about it. I wrote stories about being in space. I loved the idea of it. And I still hold, you know, a special place for space and, you know, the unknown and the universe. You know, deep down in my heart somewhere, I'm not much of an enthusiast now, but I still enjoy movies and stuff like that, and a couple of documentaries when I have the time. But let's check it out, Frau im Mond, and this will be the end of my little mini silent marathon for today. So here we are, Eureka, the Massive Cinema series presents Frau im Mond. I mean, look at that. It just looks brilliant. This came out a couple of years, 2 years after Metropolis, which is Fritz Lang's kind of much lauded masterpiece, and rightfully so. It's an incredible film. I have it on Blu-ray actually. I don't know if I've shown it in this video. I may have. My memory gets terrible, but yeah, here's the Metropolis Blu-ray. An amazing Blu-ray, an amazing film. But yeah, this was his final silent film, and he went out with an epic, so let's check it out. Can't wait. Okay, so it is really late. Well, not really late, but it's just gone midnight, and I finished watching Frau im Mond, Woman in the Moon. This has been awesome. It's been really cool, and I guess this kind of wraps up today, and this wraps up the main part of this video, the silent marathon. It was fantastic. I loved every second. The DVD looked great, you know. I can't wait for the Blu-ray. It's going to be even better. The first 5 minutes I was thinking, there was a scene that starts the film and I just felt like it was just really dragging, but when you went about 2 hours into the film, I suddenly appreciated it more. Basically, there's this guy who plans to go to the moon, and he's friends with an older professor who said years ago that they could go to the moon and find gold, and everyone laughed at him. And so he went from being this esteemed professor to being this, you know, penniless, crazy old guy, you know. But this younger guy, Helios, he takes the plans that this professor had and puts them into action. And but as he's doing it, some kind of dodgy businessmen find out, and they want to take the plans from him, and they want to get the gold. And so they sabotage all his, you know, his plans and stuff, and they steal everything, and basically force him to take one of their men on the trip. So on the trip you have the main character Helios, you have the old professor, and you have two of Helios's assistants, a man and a woman. And the woman Helios is in love with, but she's engaged to his other assistant. So there's a bit of a love triangle going on there. And one of the businessmen, the kind of you know, the dodgy, kind of cloaked, you know, not master of disguise, but he kind of disguises himself early on in the film. But he comes along, and he's played by, I believe, Fritz Rasp, who was an interesting character in Metropolis from 1927. And yeah, he was really cool. Very, he looked like a villain. You know, he looked really just, yeah, he looked really dastardly, and not too much. It wasn't over the top, but it was, you know, and so really the whole like first hour of the film is building up kind of like the characters and the people who are going to be going on this trip, and who you're going to be experiencing this film with. And it was only, again, about an hour, hour and a half into the film that I kind of realised how good the build-up had been, because all five of the characters, actually six, someone stows away on board, I won't give that away, but yeah, all five characters were well-rounded. We knew, you know, their story, more or less. I mean, they weren't all perfectly rounded, but they all had their spot, and they all were great actors, and I just was into the whole thing. And when it got to the launch of the rocket, and I saw who was going to be on the kind of team, I was really excited about it. I was like, oh yes, he's going to be, the old professor's going to be on the trip as well. He's going to get to see his plans, you know, come to life. And it was just, and then when they take off, I mean, they take off from Earth about an hour and a half into the film, and I think they land on the moon about an hour 50 minutes, something like that. It's a 2 hours and 45 minutes almost. It's a long film. But just incredible. I wanted it to be even longer. And once they get to the moon, just the sets are fantastic, and the beautiful painted backdrops, which almost look real. I mean, they just didn't look that fake. There's something so amazing about it. I love the production design and all the space. You know, in the rocket and stuff, they had this ingenious thing where they had kind of straps on the floor for the characters to put their feet in, so that they wouldn't fly around in zero gravity. Although there were a few special effects shots, you know, which Fritz Lang kind of peppered in there and didn't overdo it as well. I just loved it. Loved the characters, loved the story, loved the adventure of it. There's a couple of moments of nice humour as well, and you know, a bit of a love story there too. And the ending I loved, and yeah, I just, honestly, I might even say this is my favourite Fritz Lang film. I still think Metropolis is a more important film, probably a better film, but I think I prefer Frau im Mond, The Woman in the Moon. Yeah, brilliant movie, loved it, or film, if Falkerball's watching this far. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. I mean, it's almost a clean sweep. 3 films I've seen in this silent marathon that I would rate 10 out of 10. And it's not just me getting swept up in it, I genuinely believe and stand by that. 3 amazing movies and 1 really good movie in Nosferatu. So yeah, I'm going to add on a bit at the end of this video where I'll be watching 2 more silent films, and yeah, there's one I'm going to watch through YouTube and one I'm going to watch on Blu-ray when it arrives, so I'll tack down the end of this video, make it a bit short and sweet. I really consider today the main part of this marathon, and just adding on a couple more bonus films that I know are classic 20s films, so yeah, just to round it off a bit more. But this has been awesome. I really enjoyed this, and here I am sat in the basement, you know, when I should be in bed. really excited about films. So yeah, awesome. I can't wait for the Blu-ray release of Frau Mond. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, it looked great, it sounded great, I loved the music. It was just, yeah, magical film, absolutely magical. So yeah, that's it from me for now. And hopefully this will cut to me introducing the final home stretch of this video. So yeah. Hey, so this is kind of a weird mid-marathon kind of intermission where I'm going to be talking about something I hadn't planned on talking about, but I really wanted to add into the video, and this seemed like the only place I could put it, really, logically, without it kind of interrupting the flow of things. This was filmed about a week after I did the silent movie marathon, both days, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about something that appears on the Sunrise Blu-ray, and it is, I'll tell you exactly what it's called. Oh, it's not even on the back cover. Where is it? Ah, there you go. Murnau's Four Devils, Traces of a Lost Film. Janet Bergstrom's updated documentary. Basically, it's a narrated piece that's about 40 minutes long, and it goes into F.W. Murnau's film that he made after Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans, called Four Devils. And it's a lost film. It's been lost, and it will be lost forever unless something's found, but it really seems like now in 2014 it ain't happening. And it's a fantastic piece that looks at the film and what it was and how it turned out, the production history, you know, how Murnau kind of changed things and things like that. But it shows you kind of production stills, screenshots of the script, and it takes you through the whole story of the film in 40 minutes. Again, with details on the production as it goes along. It's not like a complete kind of reconstruction of the film or anything, but it almost is, and it almost is like watching the film, and it is almost a devastating thing to watch because it just sounds so good. It's about these two girls, sisters, and two young boys, brothers, who were brought up in the circus, and they come together, and the two sisters, they're sisters, and the brothers are brothers. They're not related, you know, between the four of them. And then they grow up and they become the Four Devils, this great circus act. And there's a guy who brought them up who's getting ill now, and they do this great trapeze act, and you know, there's all sorts of, it sounds like a great drama with a great story. And in fact, Janet Gaynor, who's the lead in Sunrise, was one of the main characters in Four Devils. And just looking at the screenshots of the script and the production stills, it just seemed like such a great film and was lauded as a fantastic you know, movie, but unfortunately it was forever lost. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Because Four Devils, to me, it's almost painful that I can't watch it because it just sounds so good. Yeah, really just tragic. Well, not tragic in the grand scheme of life, but you know, in terms of movies, definitely a tragedy because it just sounded like a great one. But yeah, a great little piece by Janet Bergstrom, who I have to say her narration is very robotic and monotone, but within 2-3 minutes I was just captivated by what was being presented. So yeah, a great special feature on the Sunrise Blu-ray. Really glad it's on there, and it kind of represents the film and keeps the spirit of it alive at least. So yeah, that was my quick little thoughts on Murnau's Four Devils, Traces of a Lost Film. Great little documentary. And now, on with the rest of the marathon. Okay, it's time for the second part of this silent marathon. This is about 4 or 5 days after the day I did that last week. I can't remember, 4 or 5, 6 days, something like that. I'm going to try and be as quick as possible in this section where I've got 3 more films to watch, I've decided. Mainly because it's so hot that it's gotten hotter than it was even before last week, and I've got 2 fans on me at the minute, but I turned them off to film this video, and I can feel myself already getting so hot I want to explode. But I'm going to continue this marathon with a film I've wanted to see for a long time, and mainly because of one iconic image in it, which is of a man hanging off the hand of a clock, and it is Safety Last from 1923, Harold Lloyd. And you know, when you think of kind of classic silent comedians in film, you think of Charlie Chaplin, you think of Buster Keaton, you think of, you know, Laurel and Hardy. Harold Lloyd is kind of like the underdog of the 3 main single, you know, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd, I think, or at least the way I see it, because I've always known of Charlie Chaplin, I've always known of Buster Keaton. Harold Lloyd I haven't heard as much about, but I've always kind of known about him too. And so I wanted to give him a chance. I still haven't gotten into Charlie Chaplin films though. Maybe I should have done that, but maybe for another time, I guess. But yeah, Harold Lloyd, I've heard a lot of good things about, so I wanted to check him out, and this seems to be the kind of the pinnacle of his filmmaking, or of his acting, I guess, because I don't think he did the directing as well as the acting like Buster Keaton does. But nonetheless, that iconic image of a man, you know, dangling off the arm of a clock off the edge of a building. Apparently that's the set piece of the movie, is him climbing up this building and doing all his own stunts and that kind of thing. And of course, one of my favourite films of all time, Back to the Future, features Doc Brown hanging off the arm of a clock, and it's actually a reference to the film which you see at the beginning of the movie when we have the kind of sequence of all the clocks, and I believe there is either a shot from the film or there's like a model of it or something. It's referenced in the beginning of Back to the Future, and then Doc Brown does it at the end of the film as well, so there's a nice link there to one of my all-time favourite movies. I don't have the DVD or the Blu-ray. I'd love to have the Criterion that just came out last year, but yeah, it's not on Netflix either, unfortunately, so I'm going to be watching it on YouTube through my TV. So I've got it queued up here. In fact, I'll play a little section of it now. It's loaded up. See that? And if I click, there's a button here, right there. If I click on that, I can connect to my TV, which I'll do. And now it's loading up to my TV, and I'll watch it through there. Alright, so I finished the film. Got to turn the fans off now, unfortunately. Yeah, finished the film, and again, it was so hot, I couldn't even say, okay, I'm starting the film now. I just went straight into watching it, and it looked great actually on the TV, playing through YouTube and stuff. And yeah, I loved the film. It was awesome. I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. You know, just really fantastic little comedy. Harold Lloyd was brilliant. Some great physical humor in the film. He plays a guy who has, you know, got a girlfriend, and he's trying to move to the big city and make some money so that she can come and live with him and they can get married. His job doesn't go very well. You know, he's kind of scraping by, and he basically spends all of his money on expensive jewelry for her to kind of make her think that he was doing well. And so she decides to turn up and see how well he's doing, and when she sees him at his job in a department store, he suddenly starts acting like he's the boss of the place, which, you know, lots of comedy ensues from that, and you know, he's just a very, very talented physical comedian, and I just love the story of the film. It was very simple but executed really well, and basically to get some money that he'll need to kind of start a new life with his girlfriend, who still doesn't really know the truth that he's just kind of, you know, getting by. He basically organises his publicity stunt where he'll get his friend, who's a very skilled climber and a builder, to climb up the building of the department store for like 15 stories or however tall it is, and get a big crowd there. And if, you know, he can do that and get some interest to the store, the general manager will give him $1,000, which at the time was considered a huge amount of money. So he gets his friend to do this, although because of an earlier scuffle with a police officer in the beginning of the film, his friend is wanted by this policeman who's going to, you know, take him to jail. And the policeman turns up that day and is waiting for him. So basically, you know, Harold Lloyd gets pushed into climbing the building himself, and his friend is like, I'll meet you on the second floor, and then we'll switch places, and I'll put your clothes on, no one will know the difference. But the cop chases his friend all the way through the building, all the way to the top, and so Harold Lloyd is left to actually climb up the building himself. And just a fantastic set piece, a fantastic sequence where it's very cleverly shot, where we see the building on the left hand side of the screen and the kind of the streets of Los Angeles on the right hand of the screen. I think it's Los Angeles, I'm not sure actually. I guess I'm just assuming because of the Hollywood thing, but anyway, the streets, busy streets, cars, people, and so that you can tell that it's real. Very cleverly and carefully shot, I think. And, you know, Harold Lloyd is trying to climb up the building, and he's slipping and falling, and things are, you know, birds are flying around his head, and nets are getting tangled over him, and it's just very edge of your eat. Oh, I'll leave that in. This is how hot it is. I want to turn the fans off. Edge of your seat stuff. Yeah, and it's just a show-stopping sequence, and again, when he's hanging off the clock, it's just breathtaking. Now, I've read that apparently there's a couple of shots where there is a stuntman. A guy's come out and said this since Harold Lloyd has passed away, that he did do a few of the shots, and there's a shot where you can tell that it's not Harold Lloyd, but the majority of it, he does very well. And yeah, just really well. And again, it wasn't done for real, in a sense. They kind of built another kind of fake building on top of a building, so that there's kind of a platform there, so he's not as high off the ground as it looks like because of the perspective, but still it was very dangerous, and, you know, again, no harness or anything like that. And It was awesome. I just thought it was a great little film, very iconic imagery of this man climbing up a building, and just the story itself was really decent as well. And it just all worked, the comedy and everything. Great film. Very much enjoyed it. And the next film I'm going to watch is another press release screener I've gotten from Eureka, from Masters of Cinema series. Another one that's coming out in August actually, and it's another F.W. Murnau film, and it is Faust, which I've heard a lot of good things about. 99 Filmo said to me it's one of his favourite silent films. He got to see it in the cinema with a live score, which sounds amazing. But yeah, I'm going to just watch this, pop it in, see what it's like. Well, watch it, and and then at the end I'll tell you what I think, just to make this a bit more quicker, because I know there's a lot of stuff that's happened in this video so far, and I haven't edited any of it together, but I've just got a feeling it's going to be longer than I wanted, so I'll just go straight ahead with Faust, and hopefully it's a good one. Looking forward to checking it out. And yeah, I'll start it now. Alright, so I've just got done watching Faust by F.W. Murnau from 1926. I can't remember if I stated that previously. Wow, that was really incredible. That was really something. I'll just turn it down a second. Maybe lower the camera down a bit, I think. Yeah, so how can I even start talking about this? First of all, it got really cool. It started raining, and it was like, oh, I could turn the fans off, and it was really nice. And now it's boiling again, and I've turned the fans off, and I'm roasting right now, especially with the lights, which I need to have on because it's getting quite dim outside. Anyway, before this goes on far too long. Oh, it already has. Yes, before I actually watched Faust, I checked all the footage I had so far, and was very shocked to see how long it is. And if you're watching this right now, then you know how long it is, and I'm sorry. But if you are watching at this point, then I'm sure you enjoyed something about the previous, however long it's been, at least an hour. So yeah, whatever. Straight on with Faust. That was just a complete waste of time. Oh, okay, right, blah blah blah. Right, Faust. F.W. Murnau movie, an absolute just masterpiece in my opinion. Started out and I was just like, wow, and then towards the middle I was thinking about it, but then where it went, I just thought, it's another 10 out of 10 for me. Another smash home run for me. I mean, what we're looking at: Sunrise, 10 out of 10. Our Hospitality, 10 out of 10. Frau im Mond, 10 out of 10. And I think this is going to be 4 for 4. Well, not 4 for 4 because there was Nosferatu and Safety Last, but 4 movies out of the ones I've watched so far, I would give a 10 out of 10. Faust was just incredible, and I read before that there was some kind of inspiration in some of the imagery in this film for the Disney animators, and you can definitely tell that in the Bald Mountain kind of scene in this film where, well, I'll get into the film first very quickly. The film revolves around a bet between an angel and a demon, and that's how the film opens, with this fantastic, really cool atmospheric shot. Darkness, and then a big light shining, and then through the smoke rides the three horsemen of the apocalypse: war, plague, and famine. And this demon is there called Mephisto, and I guess you could say it's God and the devil, but it really seems to me more like a demon and an angel. And an angel turns up and says to the demon Mephisto, why are you bringing these, the riders of the apocalypse to Earth and all this? And Mephisto's like, I want Earth. Earth should be mine. And the angel's like, well, no, no one man, can rule over all of everything and stuff. And then they look at this man called Faust, who's this kind of, I guess, like an alchemist, a scholar, a scientific man, an old man, and the angel kind of points to him as an example of a good man, I think, is what I kind of glean from it. And Mephisto says that, he's like all the others, and he can be easily, persuaded into a life of evil. I'm really paraphrasing here. So basically, Mephisto, is like a wager, and the demon, he makes a bet with the angel that if he can wrest Faust's soul away from God, if he can make him evil, then the angel will give the demon the earth. So it's a very cool, epic idea behind the story, and then Mephisto does everything he can throughout the film to turn Faust away from the good, and he's pretty successful actually. And basically, the angel agrees, he goes off, and then Mephisto, this demon who just looks fantastic. I mean, there's this huge wingspan, these huge black wings that are so much, like as big as a room, you know, and the actor's there, and there's great makeup, and he's very expressive and just, oh, fantastic. And the angel similarly has these huge white wings and looks so godly and so angelic. I mean, the imagery in this film is just so good. But aside from that, I would say it's the best. Well, no, not the best. I don't want to overdo it here because it's my first time watching it, but I would say that Faust is one of the best examples of visual storytelling I've ever seen in my life. It gets across so much with the great imagery, I think. And I'm going to really overuse the words imagery and visual in this little section, I guess. But there's this fantastic sequence where you know, Mephisto, he appears over the town where Faust lives, just towering over the village, you know, which is obviously a model, but it looks so great and it's lit so well. The lighting is so fantastic in this film and it's so integral to the look of the film, and the look of the film really gets a lot of it across. So really the lighting is paramount to this film, I think, and it's a great thing that they pulled it off the way they did, because it just works so well. And Mephisto appears with the town and he spreads a black plague, you know, and people start dying. And so Faust is trying to help them with his science, but he can't, and he can't figure out a cure. And so he's distraught, and then the people turn to God, and they're still dying. So religion and science, they can't help anyone. And so Faust, he's burning all his books, you know, he's done with it. He's so, you know, in such despair about the fact that he can't help people, that he spots a page in one of his old books that says, if you go to a crossroads and speak the devil's name 3 times, he'll appear to you. And, you know, it's another way of doing something. And so he does that, and the devil appears, and it's Mephisto in a different form. And then Faust regrets it, and he's like, no, I don't want to do this. But then the devil keeps following him and keeps persuading him that he should do this and that he should sign a contract. And he kind of, you know, he basically manipulates Faust into doing what he wants. And then we see, you know, how he can kind of lure Faust into, again, a life of evil, I guess. But it's really interesting the way it goes. I won't say anything more than that, but again, just great visuals. It's such an adventure at times. Other times it's like a horror. It's so atmospheric. There's a fantastic sequence where they ride off literally on a magic carpet, which kind of, again, I guess I'm not sure if it does actually predate The Thief of Baghdad. But yeah, and they fly on this magic carpet. And, or not on a magic carpet, sorry, no, on a cloak, a flying cloak, and I guess that would be turned into a magic carpet. I don't know which came first, either way. And there's this amazing scene where it's like a kind of a bird's eye view of a plane almost flying through these landscapes, and you can tell they're models, but the way they're lit and stuff, you know, you just get lost in it, and it was awesome. It was so good, and I love the story, I love the actors. In fact, I'm just going to check right now if the same actor plays Faust, because basically in the middle of the film, or I guess in the end of the first act, Mephisto brings Faust back to his younger self, and he becomes a young man again, and that's one of the things he uses to kind of lure him into, you know, his evil ways. And I just wanted to check very quickly. I'll do it right now on Wikipedia, right here live, no cuts, and see if it was the same actor who played the old Faust and the young Faust, because the young Faust, I feel like, didn't have as much to do, and Mephisto really, for me, is almost the main character, even though the film's called Faust, because Mephisto is there, and he's a constant, and he's always around the story, and he's always meddling in everything. His face keeps popping up, and I love the form he takes for most of the film. He looks awesome, and yeah, he's just a real fun villain, I think, and the actor who played him was fantastic in all forms that he appears in the film. Yeah, it says Gösta Ekman. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but only one man credited as being Faust. Yeah, as the young Faust, you know, he was very good, but, you know, not quite stand out. But as the old Faust, just amazing, so expressive, and I'm telling you, the makeup was fantastic, because I really would have thought that it was an old man who had grown his hair and beard to look like that, because the makeup looks fantastic. But yeah, the scene where Mephisto is towering over the village is very reminiscent of Bald Mountain from Fantasia, and then there's scenes where you get a lot of feel for, like, kind of, sorry, my Facebook thing's going off. You get a lot of feel of Disney-esque images, and it really does come across, I think. So yeah, overall for me, Faust, and the music as well is fantastic. I'm going to just quickly see who did the music, because there's 2 optional scores on this Masters of Cinema release. There is the Timothy Brock orchestral score and the Stan Ambrose harp score. I went with the orchestral score, and it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. And again, there's so much I could cover, and I'll probably make a review on my own channel, but basically there's 2 discs on the DVD. I assume that both cuts will be on the Blu-ray. We have the domestic version and the export version. The export version was the one that was kind of shipped out to foreign countries outside of Germany, the prints. But the export version is almost like a different movie. I mean, it's the same movie, and they do this a lot in the 20s, where they'd be filming a scene and they'd have a second cameraman slightly to the left or slightly to the right, a slightly different angle, and almost filming as a backup. But what it was they'd film with 2 cameras. They look at both takes, they pick the best one, they put that in the print of the one that they were putting out in their country, and then they take the other one and they put that into the export version, which would go out to foreign markets. And so sometimes they're different angles, sometimes they're almost exactly the same, and there's always differences. Like, apparently in the export version there's a scene at the beginning of the movie where the townspeople are kind of celebrating something, and a bear attacks a man on stage. And in the export version I think it's a man in a suit, but in the domestic version it's a real bear. So there's bigger differences than just slightly different camera angles. And the domestic version, which is the version from Germany, which hasn't been seen for quite a while, I think. I'm not sure again how new it is or how cool it is that it's being released, but I watched that version and it was slightly shorter than the export version. But I definitely want to see the differences, and there's a handy feature out on the release which shows you all the differences, I think. So yeah, just want to get that out of the way. And Faust, 10 out of 10. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again. I just loved it, and I loved that there was a bit of a romance in there as well, and that plays into something else, and there's just some very nice dramatic scenes, and the ending was very satisfying to me as well. If a little on the nose, but I like on the nose, I think, sometimes when it's in the appropriate circumstance and situation. So there you go, that was my thoughts on Faust. This is going on so long, but what the hell. And yeah, the next film I'm going to show you now, but I need to go get it first, and we'll get into that one and round off this whole thing. Okay, where is it? Massive Cinema, there we go. Yes, it is The Passion of Joan of Arc, the Massive Cinema release. I got this a few days ago. Was waiting for it to turn up basically before I started today, because I knew I really wanted to watch this film and to close out this marathon with a film that I know is supposed to be an absolute classic. Now, the thing about this release is, it's from Massive Cinema, again. This is like a whole promotional video for them almost, but I'd always known that this was available as a steelbook, and I thought this cover art, was good, but not great for a steelbook. So I never really was tempted by the artwork or anything like that. And then I saw a picture a few months ago, maybe a month ago actually, of the fact that this wasn't a steelbook. This is a thick slip box, and inside is the steelbook, and the steelbook looks completely different. So this is just a fantastic set. It was a great price, or is a great price online if you want to get it, and it's number 50 in the collection. So that's really cool as well. I guess they went all out for this kind of 50th edition in the Blu-ray line of Massive Cinema. Of course, this is a film by Carl T.H. Dreyer, and it came out in 1928. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to kind of go over as far as this Blu-ray is concerned, and I want to watch the movie as well, obviously, and stuff. But let's round this off the kind of the Blu-ray side of this video by looking at this in depth in a little unboxing style video. Hopefully this isn't too late in the video for you to be interested, but it's a great edition. I really want to show it off. So here is The Passion of Joan of Arc, the Massive Cinema Steelbook edition. There is of course the normal edition, but this is the Steelbook version. Great artwork there, La Passion de Jeanne d'Arc. I don't know if you want to try and pronounce all of those. Another filmmaker was Danish, and yet it's kind of a very French kind of affair. So I'm not 100% sure what that's all about, like, whether the actors are French, or I know the lead actress is French, at least. Let's take a look at the spine. Really thick, nice spine, The Passion of Joan of Arc, Massive Cinema, number 50, rated PG. And on the back we have all the special features. My only real criticism of this set is that all the text on this is slightly askew. It's slightly not aligned properly. You might be able to tell if you look at it like that, but yeah. lots of blurb about the film, and then loads of information on the special features and how the film was presented, which is a huge thing unto itself, and I'll get into that a bit later on when I talk about the film, I guess. But there you go, 1:37:1 original aspect ratio, 97 minutes from France, black and white, 1 Blu-ray and 2 DVDs, and it is region B locked, unfortunately. So, but here's where it gets really good. Other way around. Here we go. Here's the steelbook and the booklet inside. Now, normally every massive cinema release comes with a booklet, but this one is a 100-page booklet. And what I like about this is the dimensions are absolutely perfect. The steelbook stays in there. It's fine, you know. So the only way to get it out actually is to just very lightly do this, and just have a bit of control to it, and then you can take it out quite nicely. So I'll take it out first, so you'll see the back cover first. I'll put the booklet down, and here is the steelbook. An absolute beauty. I love it. It's just fantastic, and really captures what I think is the main selling point of the film, which is her performance, from what I've heard. Here we have the spine again, and this is the only time I can think of where a massive cinema release has back artwork. It's usually just the film title and the text. Although the only one I haven't seen a video of or own myself is the Metropolis Steelbook. So if anyone has the Metropolis Steelbook, let me know. But I think this is the only instance of a massive cinema Steelbook having back artwork. So here we have the 2 DVDs and the 1 Blu-ray, and there is some inside artwork as always, of course. Just the cross though, nothing too special. And if we just flip this over, you can see the back image wraps around to the spine, which I really like. And also, the image continues here, which is just a little detail, but one that I like. So yeah, there's the steelbook itself, which I think just looks fantastic. And here is the booklet, which is just incredible. Really thick, really weighty. You've got some kind of original poster going on here. And this book is just packed with stuff, absolutely packed with great images, lots of text, greatness and tragedy, articles, a table of contents, This is how extensive this book is, and I had to flick through it when it arrived, and just some great looks at how they made the film. Just like stuff about the set from the production archives, the Duce version, where you kind of see differences between the different cuts that appear on the Blu-ray, and 2 passions, 1 film. Brilliant release, absolutely fantastic, and yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that for now. But what a set, I'm so glad to have it. But it's now time to check out the film and pop the Blu-ray in and finish off this whole marathon. Let's do it. Another thing I love about the massive cinema Blu-rays is that they just pop right into the menu, no trailers, nothing like that. Let me just turn the fan off a second. So here we have the menu screen for The Passion of Joan of Arc, and here's some of the options you have, and it's really quite interesting. You have kind of 5 ways to watch the film almost. You can play the film in 20 frames per second, silent with no music. You can play the film at 20 frames per second with the 2005 Mi Yanashita score, which is a Japanese silent film composer. And then you can play the film 24 frames per second silent with no music, or you can play the film 24 frames per second with the 2001 Lauren Connors score, which is apparently an American avant-garde musician, I believe. And then finally you have the Lo Duce version, and then a restoration demonstration. And if you click any of these, and I've already tested this out, you get a little blurb at the bottom of the screen. So this one here, 20 frames per second. As with many of the films of the silent era, debate has raged as to whether 24 frames per second playback is the correct speed. Though Dreier's films was exhibited at 24 frames per second throughout much of the 20th century, many film scholars and historians now believe that 20 frames per second offers a more faithful and authentic playback. So that's interesting. You can go back then and then look at the 24 frames per second version. As with many films of the silent era, debate has raged as to whether 24 frames per second playback is the correct speed. Though many film scholars and historians now believe that 20 frames per second offers more faithful and authentic playback, it is at 24 frames per second that audiences first encountered the film throughout much of the 20th century. So that's an interesting little statistic there, I guess. Oh, don't want to cancel the whole thing there. Right. There is a wasp coming in, and I'm deathly afraid of wasps, so I'm just going to deal with that a second. Bear with me. Okay, deathly might be overdoing it a bit, but I still hate wasps. So yeah, finally the Lo Duce version, Jesus. Though disowned by Dreyer, the director, and generally considered a butchering of his artistic vision, the 1950s Lo Duce version reworking remains of interest in offering glimpses of alternate takes, material gleaned from a negative thought to be lost to the world. So there's a lot of alternate stuff in the Lo Duce version. So yeah, I think that's a great kind of table of stuff to kind of go through with this film. You know, literally 5 versions, or 5 ways to watch the film. 2 versions really, but with you know, lots of different scores and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm going to check out the 20 frames per second version with the Mi Yamashita score, mainly because I feel like a silent score, you know, a traditional silent composer doing the music is going to be a lot more satisfying to me than an avant-garde soundtrack, which sounds a bit too out there for me. So I'm going to go with the 20 frames per second version, and I'll come back to you once I've finished watching this film. Okay, so I just got done watching The Passion of Joan of Arc. It was a tough slog. It really was a tough slog. Hard to get through, honestly. And I've got to be honest, I can't just kind of try and make out like I loved every single thing about this marathon or every film that I watched. I didn't love it. I didn't. But I did appreciate it. It was a tough one. It was a tough film. And you think, given the kind of really tough and depressing subject matter, that it would make me emotional, as opposed to a simple melodrama as Sunrise, which did get me emotional. So I don't know what that says about me, but you know, Joan of Arc, you know, classic history really about this female who was fighting in the war and was captured by the French, who were had an allegiance with the English, I think. And it's, yeah, I don't know the full details, but you know, she was brought to them before a church court, and she had said that she had had a vision, and that an angel, or you know, a saint, I think, had spoken to her, and God had spoken to her, and all that kind of thing. And so they charged her with heresy for saying something so, you know, blasphemous, I guess you could say. And you know, they put her on trial to say, you know, tell us that you didn't see God, tell us that, you know, you didn't have a vision, you know. But she wouldn't, and she relented, and she, you know, stood her ground. And she was 19 at the time, and they killed her. They burned her at the stake. And so this film, it kind of consolidates that trial down into, you know, as if it happened over the space of like an hour or so. And it's a very, very well made film. It's all told in medium to close-up shots. And the majority of the film are close-up shots of faces, and it can be disorienting at times. There's not, you know, no real establishing shots, and sometimes, but you know, perspective, you know, where the characters are looking, you know, you can't quite figure out. But you know, the lead actress, Renee Falconetti, this is her only film, you know, and I think that makes the performance even more legendary. I think that it was, you know, it's a face that you can never see in any other film but that, you know. And so it almost makes it more real, and she has a haunting quality to her. And I did some looking up on her, because I honestly couldn't just make the video as soon as I finished watching the film. I spent about 10 minutes looking online about stuff, and apparently she died, you know, quite young, and had a history of mental health issues. And I did think at times she looked very convincingly crazy. But there was some haunting quality to her performance, and very raw, very emotional. You know, and she's crying a lot throughout a lot of the film. And I did almost nod off a few times, because it's very slow, and you know, again, very involved. It's just a tough slog, is basically what I'd have to say about it. But I have to recognise that it's a fantastic achievement in, I don't know, in acting. It's hard to say. It's a very sad story, and it's told. I think my problem with it was that it was such a one-note film. It is all about the depressing, she's gonna get killed by these people, you know, and there's not much she can do about it. Well, there is, and I guess that's part of the tragedy as well, and that goes along with the film. But it's just always very sad, always very down all the way through, and then it ends, and that's it. There's not a hint of happiness in this film, not a hint of any different emotion, I felt. But you know, the faces of all the people who are trying her on this, you know, this trial, You know, apparently I read that they used no makeup, you know, to make them look even more ugly, and you know, again, the detail on the Blu-ray was fantastic, and the score I think was pretty good, and it looked great again. But for me, it's not one I think I'm going to be revisiting, you know, more than a few times in my life probably. But I am happy I got the set. I think the set's fantastic, and for me, it's about owning a piece of history. You know, like someone would get you know, painting because it's, you know, it's historic or something like that, or people collect stamps or whatever. I collect films, and I like collecting them, even if I don't, you know, adore that one film. I like the fact that I can own a film that is important to the history of cinema, and it is a very important film. Because of the performance. I think it might be one of those things where it's like it really showed people, wow, you can really give a fantastic career performance in a film, you know? It doesn't have to be on stage. You can really convey a lot of emotion in cinema, even without, you know, the advent of the talkie, where, you know, you can actually hear the actors speaking, but this was a silent film, and so, you know, I don't know. I feel like it is a very important film, and it's always lauded as one of the greatest films ever made. For me, it wouldn't be up there on my list of favourite films, but I'd definitely put it up there as one of the great films. I need to rewatch it, maybe check out another version on the Blu-ray, to form a more solid opinion on it, I think, and maybe be in a better headspace, because I have watched 2 other silent films today, and you know, I had Safety Last, which was just great fun from start to finish, Faust, which was just a visual splendour, and then just down to, you know, the depths of depression and tragedy. But I feel like now I can't end this here because it's such a down note to end it on. So in that interim 10 minutes, where is it actually with my phone? There it is. I found on my phone another film I'm going to watch through my phone onto the TV, and it's presented on YouTube by the Charlie Chaplin Archives. Yes, I'm going to end this now with a bonus film. It's going to be Charlie Chaplin's The Kid, 1921. It's his first feature film, I think. And yeah, I'm going to end it on a high note, I think, hopefully. I don't know, I've never watched a Charlie Chaplin film. I feel like I gave him unfair criticism because I feel like Keaton's the best one, even though I've never seen a Charlie Chaplin film from start to finish. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to watch a film by Charlie Chaplin, see what I think, and hopefully raise the mood a little on this silent movie marathon. So let's get cracking with it. And I think Passion of Joan of Arc I would give probably a 9 out of 10 right now in terms of how great I think the film was. You know, I mean, it is a very bold film, but as far as enjoyment goes, there wasn't a lot of enjoyment for me. It was, again, a hard slog. But yeah, I'm on the fence with that one. I'm going to have to revisit it at some point, I think. But I'm very glad I watched it. And definitely, again, I can say I've seen it now, and it is an important part of film history, as I've already said a million times. So let's just crack on now. I'm going to load up the YouTube version of The Kid onto my TV. I'm going to watch it, and then we're going to truly finish this off. So yeah. Okay, so I just finished watching The Kid, and I have to say that was a much better note to end the silent movie marathon on. Again, the heat's getting to me. I hate this weather. It's going up and down and just getting hot and cold. It's like Katy Perry. Unbelievable. So The Kid, 1921. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I still think I prefer Michael. Buster Keaton. I do prefer Michael Keaton, but no, I definitely prefer Buster Keaton out of the two kind of silent comedians. And now I guess I've watched one from Keaton, Chaplin, and Harold Lloyd. I think I even prefer Harold Lloyd over Chaplin. Sorry. I prefer Harold Lloyd and Buster Keaton over Charlie Chaplin, but I thought Chaplin was very good. And I can definitely appreciate how good he was at what he did. Especially in the film, you know, The Great Dictator, which I haven't seen, but the speech he gives in that film, which I think has been more popularized over the past few years with kind of YouTube edits of, you know, there's a very well-made video set to that, and also people have put like Inception music behind it. But that scene in The Great Dictator, the speech, I think is one of the best acted, written, and performed pieces of anything I've ever seen. But so I do hold Chaplin in very high regard. But as far as this film goes, The Kid, it was a joy to watch. Basically, Chaplin. Well, at the beginning we see this woman and she's got a baby and she's distraught, and she leaves a baby in a car in a posh neighborhood, and we see a shot of her husband or her lover who doesn't really care about her, and so she's distraught and she leaves her child in the car of a posh car in a posh neighborhood. I guess assuming that the baby would get a better life, and then these two thugs steal the expensive car, and they take it to this really rough neighborhood. They find the baby and they just put it next to a bin in an alley, which is horrible. Then Charlie Chaplin stumbles across it, and I think this is where I prefer Keaton, because the Buster Keaton stereotypical role, he would be a very stern, the great stone face, but he'd be very innocent and kind of just a good guy, with good intentions. The everyman who you could identify with. Chaplin, in his tramp character, is pretty much that, just like almost homeless, and just not exactly a model citizen. I think. I mean, he finds the baby and he just tries to put it in someone's pram and leave it, But the baby keeps coming back to him, and eventually, he's stuck with it. And then 5 years later, we see that he's brought this baby up, and the baby's now a young boy, the kid. And great, awesome sequence where they go out and the kid throws a couple of stones through someone's window, and then Charlie Chaplin, he walks down that street with a brand new window pane on his back, going, "Oh, we need a new window, do you?" So they got a little racket going on, and then the kid is just so good. The kid in the film, he's just fantastic. The young boy, just great physical comedy and acting, and just looks so mischievous. He probably just was a little mischievous kid, and they just captured that perfectly in the film. There's a really wacky dream sequence near the end, which it didn't seem to fit in with the rest of the film to me. For some reason, I was just like, what is going on here? And then he wakes up, and I'm like, okay, can we get to the point of the film now? But the mother, she kind of, as soon as she put the baby in the car at the beginning, she regretted it and she went back. But of course, the thugs had already stolen the car, and so she wants her son back, but there's nothing she can do now. And so she comes back into the story, 5 years later, and I really liked how it was wrapped up and resolved, and it was a really sweet little film. And I really did enjoy it a lot. I thought it was great. I'd give it probably like an 8 out of 10, I think. Just fantastic little film. And I'll definitely be watching it again. Because I just thought the boy gave such a charming performance, and Chaplin was good. I didn't like Chaplin's little penguin walk he does, where he kind of shuffles along with his feet at the sides. It just looked so over the top and kind of just like, look at me walking funny. The film was so good it didn't need to resort to stuff like that for me personally. It was a great scene where the kid's making him pancakes. Just a great film, I think. No, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It was that good. It was really just a lovely little story, really done well. Just a few little things that dropped it down, I think. But yeah, I loved everything about it, almost. It was a brilliant little film. And yeah, that's pretty much it now. I've done the silent movie marathon. I've watched, I forgot how many films I watched. Let's go through it very quickly. Sunrise, Nosferatu, Our Hospitality, Frau-Immonde, Safety Last, Faust, Passion of Joan of Arc, and The Kid. So 8 films altogether over 2 days. I'm glad I did it, because originally I just planned to do a couple of films that I hadn't seen before for this this Wednesday video, which has now become an epic feature-length vlog marathon thing, which I didn't plan on doing at all. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this this whole experience. And maybe it's enlightened you to some silent cinema. Maybe you've enjoyed hearing my thoughts on films you've already seen, and maybe there's some that you haven't seen that you're now interested in checking out, or Blu-rays you're interested in picking up, whatever. And I promise you, this video wasn't sponsored by Eureka Massive Cinema. It just happens that they put out a lot of great silent films, and so I've really been reaping the rewards of that with my birthday money and stuff, and also getting a couple of screeners. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the intro sequence as well, and yeah, that's it. I'm glad I completed this marathon, and I'm really proud of myself for watching so many silent films within 1 week. Yeah, I'm going to go outside now because it is so boiling hot. I'm going to take a little breather and get some fresh air. It's still quite light out, but it's almost 10 o'clock at night now. So yeah, it's still light here in Norway, that late. But it's getting a bit darker earlier on now, so that's good, because there was a time for the past couple of months where it just wouldn't get dark at all, which is horrible. So yeah, I'm going to go outside now, get some fresh air. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, look forward to Ryan's video for this 1920s week, unless you watch this after 1920s week, which is which is very likely. I'll leave that flub in, which is very likely because this is such a long video, you've probably taken months to get around to actually watching it, but that's fine. Check out all the stuff on Blu-ray Brothers channel, check out my channel, Razor Wire Reviews, for more stuff like this, and as always, check out Ryan Chataway and Robbie Webster's channels, all that good stuff. And yeah, this has been a cool celebration of a month of the Blu-ray Brothers. May there be many more. I'm getting out of here. Thanks for watching. Jesus. What the? What are you doing over there? Wait, I can speak. Thanks. Throw another one. Throw another one.
Horrible thrower.
The one that went past my ear felt like it was a bullet. It was like. Again. Oh shit! What the? What are you doing over there? Wait, I can speak. Thanks. Stop. Stop. You weren't supposed to throw it on that one. You were gonna cut. You got right in the lip. Oh, Jesus. What the? What are you doing over there? Wait, I can speak. Thanks. You got it right on the top of the cranium, that one. Dunk.
I heard it. Oh.
Seriously, you gotta be very careful here. Can't not blink. Right in the nose. Properly. It's not even sunny. Right. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my eye. I'm getting some sort of hay fever. It's the Ryan effect. I'm getting allergies or something. I can't open my right eye properly. Oh, my eyes. I swear to God, it's like my eyes are like, I'm gonna kill you.
Fight through it. Come on.
Oh, no, I can't. Right, so my eyes are just closing over on themselves.
Well, you are in hay.
Right.
There'll be some funny outtakes.
Yep, very funny. Haha. Just saying random stuff really, because I don't actually need any dialogue for this scene, because it's going to be silent and, you know, yeah, basically these awful movies, well, not really awful, but, you know, just, yeah, basically that's all I really have to say about that, because I don't need a shot that's much longer than a few seconds, so thanks.